Yeah, the moment I realized how many companies we have to take over, like, because the mafia controls those companies, that's when I realized, like, this is too much. Like, being president is too much. But, like, that's why you have to hire like someone for that, and hire someone for that, and hire someone for that, and hire someone for that, and like, and then they hire a lot of people, and then there are already people that work there, because like Universal Music's gonna be taken over for sure, and Entertain Mart's gonna be taken over. My family owns Entertain Mart. They've known me since I was like a baby that was an adult. Like Walmart and like Albertsons and stuff, like, and just dealing with courts is going to be so exhausting. But like, there are real estate companies we're going to take over, and like, we're going to end up with so much real estate. Just dealing with Amazon by itself is like terrifying to me. Like, just one company's scary, but you start thinking about internet companies like Google and Dell, and like, I'm not sure who else yet, like, but I have a feeling it's going to be too many internet companies, because they want to control like technology. And then defense contractors, and then like intelligence agencies. It's brutal. Like, it is a brutal process trying to like make sure that our society continues while getting rid of like mafia control of our society. And I think it all starts with like the presidency, and like dealing with like these intelligence agencies, and like the military and the defense contractors, and like the NSA, like that type stuff. And dealing with the way that we do bills, and like, and then like, and dealing with like the Treasury and the Fed, and like, it is hard. Like, you have no idea. Like, I am apparently like the smartest person in the world. Like, I do not like my job now. Like, I can't believe I'm running for freaking president. Like, you understand? Like, when I say I'd prefer just to play music and have sex, like, all I've ever wanted to do in my entire life is just play music and have sex. It's really hard to explain. Like, I've worked so hard on music. All I want to do is play music and have sex and have actual equipment and not get robbed all the time. And like, that's why I have to deal with the intelligence agencies. And like, I have to kind of like, and I have to figure out which hotels we're going to end up taking over, and like which insurance companies. And like, it's like unbelievable that the federal government could take over that many. I mean, I think all of us can kind of agree, don't let the federal government take over companies like that. Like, it has to be like someone that's the shit. Like, it has to be like the best CEO in the world who's a computer expert that takes over those companies, to make it so that like America doesn't turn into a crap country, so it doesn't turn into like the 1980s style website for the government. Like, that's like all the governments, all the city. So my opinion on owning too many businesses, like, because we're going to take them over the government has to take them over, and I'm going to be in charge, because like I'm good at business, is that like, we need to make sure that like there's enough media on TV, like, in general, that's an acceptable amount, which is not very hard. Like, when you have the catalogs of certain companies, like if we have Amazon's movie and TV catalogs, it's not very hard to like set up like reruns. And then like, you could on one channel, you can do like 2 new things a day, and no one would ever notice. So like, we can make sure all like the media companies continue. And social media, like, it can work on its own. Like social media is like you, like my social media has dropped off, and it's been fine, like, because I'm banned from like everywhere. So like, the amount of news that I can see through social media is like nothing. Like, I miss out on everything that's happening in our society because I'm banned everywhere. But like, I can still make sure that continues. And like, news companies here continue. Like, Amazon owns, or Jeff Bezos owns, the Washington Post, and that's why it's like very easy for me to say, you don't own Amazon anymore. You don't own the Washington Post anymore. Your assets are gone. Like, you are part of the conspiracy to overthrow the United States government via like rigged elections, via like censorship. And, but once you do that, like, you have to make sure that those companies are continuous. Does Amazon do virtualization? Like, when I was talking about like having to take over Dell, and like, I'm like being worried about VMware Sphere, like, does Amazon's software virtualize servers? It feels like they do their own virtualization. Like, I don't know if they're partnered with like other virtualization companies. Obviously, like, you can do you can do VMware virtualization on Amazon servers, and you can do Microsoft virtualization on Amazon servers. But I think Amazon does do its own virtualization. And so like you can, but like trying to deal with that many server companies is exhausting to me. And like trying to figure out like what we're doing with these defense contractors, because I still have to like figure out like how we're gonna do that saltwater river, like to desalinate water. And so if we with SNAP Plus benefits, are these free? Like I think they're just super cheap. Like I think it's like $1 probably for most of them. Like I don't know, like, or like I don't even know. Like some things might be like I don't know how it works yet. Like I don't know what I'm doing. Like I'm still I'm in the middle of running for president. I don't have a single member of my staff. Like I'm running a lot of the stuff I'm running on is like 4 years old. Like I had a plan for 2 currencies. Like it was based on like this developing like a government cryptocurrency plan, and one of the currencies was Snap Plus basically. So I put together a list of goals for when I first get into office, because I think that like by January 2025, like I should have hired 1,000 employees, because like people start hiring before they get into office. January is exactly when you start going into office. So you'd have like November. Yeah, I mean, that's 2 months. But like, I mean, I want to have a plan of like who's going to replace certain people, especially like, because I need to replace the intelligence and military heads like right away, and a lot of the DOJ like the Treasury Department, like within 90 days. So like that'd be January, February, March. So, but like the key is like I was talking about, figuring out how to get like 1,000 employees to help me like to start hiring employees themselves, because like this is the greatest restructuring of like government and the private sector in history. And like when everyone's like afraid of the government being in the private sector or being too in control of certain things because it's socialism, like it's especially because like they can't do a good job. And like I'm afraid that I'm going to have so many jobs that I'm not going to do a good job, because like I want to worry about like changing the legal system. Like I want to standardize legal procedures. Like I want to standardize legal documents. Like I want to like make it so that like the real like the big problems with government are solved like by me. But like I have to take over so many companies because of this mafia situation that it is exhausting. But I think a lot of the companies like probably run themselves that much. I mean, Walmart's the biggest employer in the world. They run themselves that much. But like I was just saying, like that's kind of the goal. Like this is hard. Like this is very hard. Like I'm not messing with Social Security because like I'm gonna be too busy. Like I'm not messing with taxes because I'm gonna be too busy. Like I need to figure out what the situation is with the government, the fiscal situation, and then I might lower or increase taxes. But probably like I'm not trying to increase taxes. I'm taking over so many companies, and I'm using that money to fund the tax system. So like I can't imagine a situation where I'm going, now the government's less funded. I own like all the billionaires' companies. So like I mean, but interest rates, it's just easier just to kind of leave them alone generally. Like I think when you move 50 basis points or like a half percentage on interest rates, you don't have the option to do that in the time of an emergency. And I think that maybe he probably did see something that made him think that he needed to change interest rates, and that's why he did it. The more I think about hiring people, the more I realize that it is a massive job, because like you have to like do the initial interviews, and then you have to do follow-up interviews. And like I've been trying to figure out like how to do the hiring process, because I'll only have like 2 months to hire that many people. I need to actually talk to them. Like I do think I need to talk to people in person. And my initial reaction is I need like a very large hotel, like the Cosmopolitan in Vegas. Like it's the fanciest. Like it's where I would set up. It's got 3,000 rooms. Like, I mean, I figure that's like 1,000 military people, like 500 cops, and like 1,000 candidates, plus. The problem is like we're going to be confiscating a lot of hotels in Vegas, and like, but I do know Vegas, like Vegas it has a lot of black people, a lot of brown people. Like Vegas is people from all over the United States. It's not all sex traffickers. I know that everyone knows Vegas is like the sex worker capital of the United States. And it is a lot of gangsters, and like I don't know like how much how comfortable I am with locking down Vegas. Like the other hotel I was looking at was Caesar's Palace, but like I mean, because you can lock down the entire hotel, like which is something that Vegas doesn't usually do. Usually you can walk through the lobby, like it's a lot of gambling, But I don't know, like the more I thought about it, like, because I do think it's cool to use that hotel. Like the more I realized I think that probably going like with like Orlando or Destin, Florida might work better. Like there are that many hotels in Orlando, and like there's a lot of black people too. Like the reason I mention that is because like I'm worried about people like trying to assassinate like us and like people like me, because like we're like in a conflict situation with like a very, very large amount of organized crime people. Like it's that serious. Like there are a lot of people that are going to be losing their property. And like when I look at the Cosmopolitan, and I don't even know if I'm taking the Cosmopolitan, but I feel like I'm probably taking the Cosmopolitan from those people. I know I'm taking Caesar's Palace. I get nervous about Vegas, but you never know whose property you're taking anyways. But I was thinking like I do need more people to help hire people, because like I need to do initial interviews before other interviews. And like, I think everyone could just go hang out at a resort for like a week, and then you could bring in new people. It doesn't necessarily have to be 3,000 rooms. Like it could be 1,000 rooms, or it could be like 500 rooms even, like, because we could bring in different people every week. But like, I do think like 500 is a pretty small hotel. And that's the problem with trying to find a hotel to do this hiring situation with. So, Lita, like, I started thinking Lita was a little person. Like I remember her dad came to class and watched our class at Baylor, and the reason I thought that is because she had such big boobs. But like she's like, her and I were like that good of friends. Like I would definitely use her. So I have this list, and don't assume anything about the list, because I really don't think I should hire Angela, who was like my best friend, even though like Angela's a weird situation, like, and Caitlin's the same sort of weird situation, but like, because Caitlin and I stopped being friends, but then I still feel like I could probably hire Caitlin. Betsy Antolik, she's from the painting, I thought, and she's someone that like I would have been like, yes, pick, and why is she on that list? Like I don't know, like I mean the thing is, like it doesn't mean that Betsy's not like someone that I like being around. Like generally though, like people I actually know are like Lita's who I know, like, but then like I love being around Haley and Shannon, and I know Ashley Arnold, like, but I wasn't that good of friends with her. Like Lita's who I hung out with, and like Natasha like is super chill, and Brittany, we called her Brittany because she was so small. Like I know she's small, and I know she's from Colorado Springs, and I mean, so like I feel like if she's that small, she should probably like. I mean, I should probably like just at least talk to these people. Like, I feel like generally like it's like, well, you come talk to me and then I'll decide if like you can help me hire people. But like chances are like they're going to want to be on my side no matter what. But like maybe they have a dark enough past that I don't want to use them. But like I do think that like I can assume that there are certain people that are going to be on my side. And that's easy. Like Lily and Phil Collins, I said something about Phil Collins because I thought like he was organized crime because of like his work with Disney, and like the reality is like he's not that good, and that's why I really doubt he's actually organized crime. Lupito Nyong'o, like I don't know if I know her clone, like I mean, like but everyone kind of likes her, so like she's easy to be around. Zoe Love, like I do know her, or I know her twin well enough that like she's like a Reddit naked girl, and she's a little person. Like I know her twin well enough that like I would let her hire people. Like I do think she could help me hire people. Like I have to hire too many people, but I was thinking like there are so many restaurants that are going to end up getting taken over. Like these people are that in the food business, because I worked at Landry's, or I worked for that company, and I've been to multiple locations as a child. And like, it's a weird situation. Like I worked at La Hacienda de los Barrios. I worked at Chinatown. I worked for Hills Science Diet. And like, that's like that important of like a dog food supplier. And like, I went to like a hotel, like conference thing where they trained us and stuff like that. I don't know why I have all this stuff on the list. I don't know how to hire enough people. Like that's why I have to think like, okay, who's my friend? Like, yeah, I've been around you enough. Like you seem like somewhat level. Before I start talking about my plans for like hiring people, like I want to mention that like a lot of us were, or most of us were little kids on hormone drugs, and we had like a diabolical evil genius trying to brainwash us into like hooking up with adults, like because we didn't know our age, and like we didn't like the adults as much. But then they were trying to figure out how to hook us up with adults while we're on drugs that make us emotional and make us like not as rational. So, but I think Caitlin Dilworth, like her and I, like I was probably in love with her a little bit. Alison Elgram, like I just know she's hot and she's nice. Like I don't even know her very well, but like I do. I'm pretty sure she's a kid. Kim Black, like which is her name now, like her and I were actually pretty good friends. Like I liked her a lot. Like I had a pretty big crush on her, and she's got a good personality. And Kim Field, like I probably should have actually made an effort with Kim Field because I was pretty crazy about her. And Chantal and April, I'm pretty sure they were the same size. And so like I was getting tricked before when I was thinking Chantal was older and April was younger. They're the same size. So yeah, that's sorry about that. Hannah Manal, like I think she's probably, you know, like she was. I think that like I'm naturally like, oh, she's not smart enough, but then like I know that she's a little kid, and like it's like yeah, she's a little kid in freaking in the honors college. Like of course she's not as good of a writer. Like let her hire people. Kirsten Hartzell, yeah, for sure. Like I like Kirsten Hartzell a lot, and Sarah Morrison, Kristen Vacchi. Like Kristen Vacchi's a lawyer. She went to UT Law at a pretty young age. It sounds like. How can you go to UT Law at such a young age? My cousin went to UT Law. That's confusing. Yeah, but she's small. That's all I know. So I think that like the White House can be relocated temporarily. Like it wouldn't like just the staff. A lot of it could be relocated to the Cosmopolitan, or to the Sandestin Golf. And Sandestin, I saw it's owned by Hilton. Hilton owns property on the Strip. That's a complicated issue too, which requires like us being able to meet and talk about everything. But if there are 1,500 people that fit there, then you're probably talking about like it would be like I think you're maxing out at like 2,200 people because people come together and share rooms and stuff like that. But like a lot of the people are not gonna go bring their wife or their family, and like I do think the Cosmopolitan would be a better place to base the operations out of, even though like you got the Palazzo there and then you've got the. So I've been working out this plan to relocate the White House to the Cosmopolitan Hotel for the time being, and like what I'm saying is that like there are a lot of high roller suites, and like and they're like some of the richest suites, and like they bring in a lot of Chinese customers. And the reality is like I don't really care if the Chinese customers are there. Like you're not going to be allowed to have a gun like on premises, and like you're going to have to go through security going in and out, which you might actually like. But I think that we could probably keep those suites as is, like most of them, like, and still rent out some of them. Like I'll take one of the suites for sure. And I do think that like we might set up desks and stuff in a lot of the casino area, because I saw there's 100,000 square feet in the casino area downstairs, but there's 150,000 square feet of gaming in the Aria next door, and it's really close. And we can do some sort of like indoor shuttle type thing also, like for some people, like so that you can go between the two. I think the Aria is pretty much going to stay the same. It's owned by MGM. Like I think that like the reality is Aria has like so many suites also. So like if someone wants a suite, they can go over to the Aria. I think that like when you own all the hotels in Vegas, like you don't have to worry about like people going and gaming next door. And so like I think it'd be easy to do a transportation setup between the Cosmopolitan Hotel for people that are wanting to stay in the suites there, and to the hotel next door. The other thing I was going to mention is like I think that like when like you have a hotel like that, you always have rooms that are open, like in the Aria, like that are like they have 4,000 rooms, but probably they always have like at least 500 open, I would assume, like especially during certain times of year. And so I don't think it's a big deal to like put certain staff next door also, but that wouldn't be like as high of a security area. Like I think that like the Cosmopolitan would be like the primary like high security area, and then like we would like I think that everyone wants to go to the Caesar's Palace, so like you don't really want to like take up those rooms. Like everyone wants to rent rooms at Caesar's Palace. Like I feel like the Cosmopolitan people don't know as much. The Aria, like you can see it from the outside. Cosmopolitan, like you have to feel that the Cosmopolitan's nice. Like it's like one of those places where like no one will tell you how nice that place is. But yeah, I think that like the real thing I want to make sure I can do is go around and talk to people that are like trying to get a job or like that are around, and like I would like for like everyone to kind of hang out and meet each other and kind of like hang out and like be anonymous sometimes when they go and interview people. I've been thinking about this idea to basically like move the winter White House to Las Vegas, because like during the winter it's fine in Las Vegas. And I was thinking Cosmopolitan. This is the sports gambling area. And like the thing about sports gambling is like I think people like to have a sports gambling area where they can watch the game if they're gonna hang out there. And like I don't know, I don't see like a ton of screens there, but like I'm sure there are screens. That's more like a luxury area. And then there's the nightclub, which is a problem because like if I'm moving like that many people into the hotel, like, and it's a security situation, like what are you gonna do with the nightclub? But then I looked at it and the nightclub's like actually pretty big compared to the Arias. And that's the big issue is like, it's like a 40,000 square foot nightclub versus a 25,000 square foot nightclub or something like that. And like, I do think that like nightclubs are that good at business. Like it's probably one of the most expensive nightclubs in the United States. The Marquee nightclub. But I don't know exactly what I'm planning on doing, because I was thinking I was going to move the slots out of like the Cosmopolitan and move them to a different hotel. Like maybe the MGM Grand could use an upgrade. And if the MGM Grand gets an upgrade with the slots, then we want to change out the carpet for sure. Like there's no way we're leaving the carpet the same at the MGM Grand. And so I think the MGM Grand could be a lot nicer. All you really have to do is like change out some of the carpet and some of the slots. But yeah, so like I don't know. I think it's the nightclubs like really get really busy on the weekends, and that's when you really have to like decide like maybe we can just open it like Thursday through like Saturday or something like that. And so it's not that big of a deal like letting like 600 people in. But I think that like a lot of the time we can shuttle people to other hotels. Like it's not a big deal to take them to Caesar's Palace, like I said. And like I've seen a lot of these nightclubs are like dead for most of the days, but like we can shuttle them to Palazzo also, to the Tao nightclub. Nightclub's pretty nice. So yeah, like I think business needs to continue, but like I think that we would remove so many slots from the Cosmopolitan, like and like it would be like a permanent decision. Like we're actually doing like I don't know how much gambling is going to be there. Like maybe like the poker, and like I don't know. Like I'd have to talk to people to see like how much money people are bringing in, because the Aria, like some of it doesn't look as nice. Like I mean, like I know the Aria is like the nicest, but then like I looked at the poker room and I didn't really like it as much. But like the Aria is so freaking nice. Like no one cares. Like that's why it's so nice to have it next door. Like you have the Aria, and then you have the Cosmopolitan, and then you have Caesar's Palace right down the road. I've been talking about renovating the Cosmopolitan and making it the winter White House, because it's in Vegas. It's so hot there. It's fine during the winter. And I was talking about like moving the slot machines to the MGM Grand and then changing out the carpet. And I do think that that's a pretty solid idea. And so I have this shot of the Aria Hotel, which has like, it's more of like a lounge type area. And that's kind of what I'm talking about in here a lot. But like, I'm also talking about figuring out how to get desks that are built around this area, and having like group work areas for like whoever. And it's probably a lot of computer screens and like and work areas for people once you move that's what it would be. So I looked it up, and they have a theater in the Cosmopolitan. It's called the Chelsea, and like they basically only have people come there Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays, and they bring in comedians. Like, which surprised me that you could sell out a theater with that many, like 3,500 person theater with those comedians. I mean, I don't know if they're funny. Like, I don't really listen to comedians. I know Daniel Tosh is funny, but like I was kind of surprised by the music. Like that they like if it seems like all you really need is like Avril to come work for you, and then she could go play on Thursday, and then you could go play on Friday, and then like you could both play on Saturday, and you could just do that for fun because you're already in that area, and that would be cool. But like the big problem is like the entrances, like going through like where like the work areas is a concern to me. I'm not sure like how like I feel like I'm getting to that point with it. And I've planned far enough that like I don't know what to do. I feel like it's nice that there's a theater there though for like very large group meetings, for like something you have to say to everyone in the staff, like, or like even like for going to watch like the Super Bowl and stuff like that. It's nice that there's a theater there for that. So I don't know. I don't know. Like, but I do think we need to take over Cosmopolitan. I think the secret to getting people to work for you is not like being an asshole, and it's not like being like, I'm so scary, I'm the government or whatever. Like, I think the key to getting people to work for you is like giving them benefits and like paying them well. And like, if you're making profits out of the corporation, like that you're running, but then it's government owned, and you're like giving like huge amounts of money out of those profits, then like to like a CEO or something, or you're giving bonuses and stuff like that, then it can motivate people to do better. But and it means you're not as like you're not as public sector as it seems. But let's look at the Roosevelt Room. This is where you get to go meet with all the most important people in the United States. These are their chairs. Let's look at the White House Oval Office. Oh man, you went with the royal blue carpet on that one, huh? Yeah, someone did at some point. And so basically, like when I talk about like this area's got a Roosevelt Room area, or like one there and one there, and then there's like, I don't know, like there are a lot of options for like putting Roosevelt type table type things, Roosevelt room tables, I don't know what they're called, conference room tables, in this area. And like, then you at least work somewhere nice. And like the way I see it is that people should have like really nice work areas if they're like really smart and they're really like hardcore. Like I feel like everyone's response to this would be, well, what about your nuclear bunker? The reality is that like I've talked about like not really going to war with people, and I've talked about like being based out of the United States, but I do realize that like we are in that kind of situation right now, where like we are in like a situation where nuking Vegas is so difficult because it's so far inland. And we do have an Air Force base out there, and like I know that defense contractors used to be based out of Vegas. Howard Hughes lived in like Las Vegas. He had an entire hotel room floor to himself, and Howard Hughes' lawyer's granddaughter was on my list of people that I was going to have help hire me, because I think she's the wrong age that much. So does Visa's monopoly affect everything? The nature of the banking industry makes everything super annoying and inefficient, and like we've got to break off something for like a South African every time we do anything, or not like, or a lot of different people, like because they are that tied into our finance industry, and some of these people are serious criminals. So yeah, let's do the White House like that, or let's just turn that into the White House, because then people can like people can come up to my room all the time and come meet with me and stuff, and then like, and we can have offices that are like really nice offices too, that are like I've been thinking about remodeling Cosmopolitan and removing the slot machines especially. And like what I was thinking is that like pool tables never annoy me. Like the noise from a pool table never annoys me. Like going to Dave and Buster's annoys the crap out of me. Like I can't handle that place. It's like all these conflicting sounds. But like I think that like pool tables like really don't annoy me. But it doesn't mean that we can't like put them on in like a certain area. Like it's like right here. Like it looks like there's gonna be like a desk with a monitor and a desk with a monitor. And like I was thinking that like there needs to be like a gaming center, like with like where you can like rent out, where you can play PlayStation, but like you can also do computer games. And like I think that like you can also like use like super high power computers there. Because like I don't know what to do with this whole area. Like I'm trying to figure out like what employees can do like when they like need to take a break from their brain, because like I always take breaks from my brain, like every once every like 45 minutes, maybe even like when I'm studying hard on a certain topic. And like I mean you could like work for a certain amount of time, go play a game of pool, work for a certain amount of time, like go play a game of pool, go work for a certain amount of time, and then like you guys always play ping pong together. And so, but like, I don't know how I'm afraid of video games, because I know that I'll play video games for days. Like the moment I start playing video games, I don't really do it that much, but it doesn't mean that I don't want to use gaming computers sometimes. And like, it doesn't mean I don't think that having a gaming lounge isn't fun. Like I know that's like, you can make so much money. You never believe like the parent whose kid like always plays games. No, he knows that kid's like got to go to the gaming lounge. Like he knows like it's the best place. He's got to go to the gaming lounge. So because you got to still make money somehow. Like and like that's why I was thinking the arena like at the Cosmopolitan might not be big enough for some of the musicians like Avril and me. Like but that doesn't mean that we don't have the T-Mobile Arena, and then like there's the Mandalay Bay Arena, which is huge, and there's the MGM Grand Arena. So like we don't always have to use the Cosmopolitan, the Chelsea theater there, but you can still like have Sunday mornings where people are watching football, like, and then there are like 4 screens. There's like one main screen, and then there's like, or maybe even 5 screens, like 4 other side screens, and then like, you can watch like college basketball, like, cause like you'd be surprised you can actually make money. Like just like letting people go to the concession stand while they're going to the theater that's never open, probably. Like if they want to go watch sports there. Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking is like there should be pool tables. I can't think of anything else. If you know me well enough, you know that I never stop working. So I've been thinking about this Cosmopolitan Hotel and the Aria Hotel and just Las Vegas in general, and like the government takeover of all the casinos. Because of like mafia, sex trafficking and drug trafficking, and biological weapons and stuff. So I think that like instead of the lion at MGM, like we should do a bear and a baby bear, and it can even have a crown on the bear, because I do think that the bear is a better symbol for America and for me than the lion. The lion is a predator. The lion's scary. The lion stalks you. The lion is hiding in the grass and will tear you to pieces. The bear really would prefer not to fight you. The bear might run at you. Like the bear really doesn't like really want to mess with you ever. Like you probably don't even know the bear's around. The bear's probably in a tree. The bear really won't mess with you unless you're messing with its cubs. So I think that that's a better symbol, and I think that would be a better symbol for America than an eagle. But I was thinking like we need to make sure that like people that are staying at the hotel can afford it, because I don't know if that's a very cheap hotel, and that's why I was thinking about the way that food works. But I was also comparing the White House to the Cosmopolitan. They have 132 rooms, and so like if you compare that to like this one where it's got 177 terrace suites and 247 wraparound suites, like you're talking about like a million times more meeting space and like and space for people to come and live and like work, and like not having to go drive around Washington DC to go to 50 different locations to do anything. Like I saw 412 doors. Yeah, well there are like almost that many doors just for like suites, for the entrance to suites. And like obviously the whole thing is made of windows. Like so like when you start to read this, it's like, wow, that's like really not that impressive. Like the casino area by itself is 100,000 square feet. So like that type stuff, that we remove the gaming machines and set up like tables and computers and stuff like that. But people can work in areas like this. They have a bunch of little like smaller restaurant type things that like you can go work there. I think that's the way to do it. And if you have kids, like I think you can just get an adjoining room. Like if you got like two singles, like it might be not be that bad, but like you could. So I've been working on this plan to confiscate like most of the Las Vegas Strip, and then the White House would basically become the Cosmopolitan. The slots specifically like would be moved out of the Cosmopolitan, and then we'd put in like custom desks that are built for the atmosphere, and with monitors and stuff like that for workers. And we'd have like 100,000 square feet of like open like office space. And then we'd also have like closed room offices. Also, apparently the White House only needs 130 rooms total. So if we took 100 rooms for offices, we have a lot. But what I was also thinking about was like the problem of childcare, because say that we bring in like 500 families or 1,000 families and they have kids, like generally like that place might not be the place that they want to hang out, even though there are ping pong tables, there are pool tables, there's like a golf simulator, there's like a video gaming area that like will have a lot of kids, there's a pool area, like there's a lot for kids there. It's not a big deal having them around. But what I was thinking is that like childcare is at Treasure Island, and it's like a jumping, like there's like a trampoline area, there's like a half court basketball hoop, there's like a bunch of video games. So like this is Treasure Island. I really don't like the casino area. It's a lot of like wood, like natural looking wood. It's like planks and stuff like that. Even the ceilings, like we could maybe even paint the ceiling. And so it would, like indoors, it would be a lot of fun stuff like that. But then outdoors, the pool would be for kids also. So would we still rent the rooms in Treasure Island? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that like it would stay mostly the same, like on the exterior, except for like the pool area. Like it would be nice to have like a playground type area out there that matches the theme. But it's so hot in Vegas that you do have to put stuff inside, and that's why. Like I think what would happen is there would be a shuttle that goes from the Cosmopolitan and Aria. Aria is pretty much the Cosmopolitan, like they're that close, in my opinion. And then the shuttle would go to the Palazzo for like the high rollers, like because if you want to go to a different casino floor, because we don't really have gambling in the casino, and you don't want to go to the Aria, which Aria is a 4-star hotel, like with 150,000 square feet of gaming. You can go to the Palazzo. You can go to like the loop would be Palazzo, Treasure Island, and then Caesars. And so there would be a shuttle constantly going like between those ones. I know you're thinking, what about the Bellagio? You can go to the Bellagio. Like I don't know. I haven't really thought about the Bellagio. Like, do I even know that we're confiscating all these companies' properties? No, but so I feel like when it comes to like Jeff Epstein and when it comes to P. Diddy, like we're probably not going to get the full story about it ever. Like I saw what 50 Cent said, and he said, I've been very vocal about not going to puffy parties and doing shit like that. I've been staying out of that shit for years. It's just an uncomfortable energy connected to it. Like, and I think that the uncomfortable energy has to do with little people that are prostitutes, that are clone prostitutes, and girls that don't know their age. That's my theory on it, but that's not what the news is reporting. Like the news is reporting, he had 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. Look at how much lube he has. Of course he has sex parties. It sounds like P. Diddy's like having sex parties and hiring prostitutes, which like, do I care if you hire prostitutes and have sex parties? No, like none. Like I was going to have prostitution legal in Elfton, and I was going to have, and obviously prostitution is going to stay legal in Las Vegas. And like, am I going to judge you if you had a orgy with J-Lo and like your bodyguard? I judge you, especially when they're like people are getting drugged and like tricked into doing things, like especially. But so like, is the news like the way that the news reports on stuff like this? If it's true, and the feds are like giving them information in this format, Like, is it covering it up? Like, covering up, like, what's actually happening? It seems like it, but then I keep thinking that, like, the real story's gonna come out. My brother's so difficult to get, like, $40 from. Like, you don't understand, like, I need gas money, and, like, all I do is, like, text him, like, all day. I'll call him. I have to, like, blow him up for, like, 3 days in a row every single week to get gas money, and all he ever says is, like, once you get a doctor, everything will be fine. That's what the FBI says to me, too. Like, the FBI says, well, we're just gonna get you psychiatric help, and you'll be fine. Like, I'm not going to think they're twins. Like, I'm not going to think that you guys are, like, keeping, like, slaves by tricking them into being slaves, and they don't realize how much they're slaves. Their communications are blocked. Like, they can't, like, actually have opportunities because you're using them and you want to control their money that much. Like, I mean, that's like the real concern here is, like, these people are controlling computers to the extent that they can keep slaves still. And we get to go, oh, Puff Daddy had 1,000 bottles of lube. You can have 1,000 bullets, I promise, but don't have 1,000 bottles of lube. So I've been talking about the sex trafficking situation where people are cloning little people and training them to be sex workers, and they're cloning girls and they're tricking them into thinking they're adults when they're like 5. So like she could be like a 6-year-old that's fairly certain that she's 19 years old, and like, but then they're also brainwashing her to want to have babies and stuff. And then like the man is the one that doesn't want to, or something like that. But they're also tricking them into thinking that they're taller than they are by having them be around little people a lot. And so, like I've been in the middle of this presidential election, and the FBI has been in the middle of this presidential election. I just did time because the FBI opened a case against me while I was on probation. I think that's like their argument is the FBI opened a case against him. He was on probation, and therefore he violated his probation, even though the FBI closed the case. But I violated my probation by refusing to talk to the FBI because they were going to make me talk to the FBI with no lawyer. Like, I can't afford to have a lawyer. And the FBI knows I can't afford to have a lawyer. So did I talk to the FBI? Yes, with no lawyer. And they've never heard of Mimi Masha. They've probably heard of Shauna Ray, but they've never heard of her. And I didn't even ask about Rainbow Satanica. I didn't ask about a lot of things. So if the FBI is releasing information like the way that they're releasing information, we found 1,000 bottles of lube. Trust me, he's having orgies. Like, he's having prostitutes come over and have sex at sex parties, and that's what he did wrong. No, we do know that he drugged someone and he like had sex with them with his bodyguard, and that's like the difference between P. Diddy and like everyone else that's been caught, like my brother, who like I can't get tiny amounts of money from, even though like his money is mine. Like, I wrote all his online education courses for his company that my mom sold and bought real estate with, and he's a property manager. So, and he came in and stole all my clothes. Like, he stole all my stuff. He stole my music recording equipment. So this guy burglarized me so hardcore with the aid of the police. And then they're saying, well, it wasn't burglary. You let him in your house. Because like I did, like my mom said, do you need me to take the guitar out of there? And I said, yeah, you can take my guitar out. That's the only thing I said that they could take out of the house. I'm finding like my micro spikes, and I'm finding like all my paperwork and stuff like that in a dumpster outside. And like, so, some people don't have sex in front of like a giant audience full of people. And some people do have sex in front of a giant audience full of people, and that's why they get caught, apparently. Like, apparently, like, what the FBI counts as evidence is, like, the most obvious evidence in the freaking world. Like, you need to make a sex tape, or else the sex act doesn't count. Because it seems like they're tampering with an election by censoring here. Usher went there and saw the lifestyle, and he's not sure what he saw. Like, he's not